Just made it up to the cabin. It's Tuesday. The first thing I noticed was this blowdown here along the edge of the driveway. It's from an old dead popple tree, aspen. Luckily, it came this direction, so it didn't hit the power line. So, one of the jobs I'll have to do is clean that up a little bit. So, here's some branch tops that came down, and I believe those came from the top of this dead popple. And actually, one of the things I might try and do on this trip is check with my friend down the road and see if maybe he can come and we can get this down on the ground before it hits a vehicle or building or something like that. So I think first thing to do is get in the cabin and get a fire started. So time to get the wood stove fired up so we can get some heat in here. One of the things I've wanted to do for a while is make a entryway into the woodshed here on the backside, so you can get in on this end of the firewood. Because what generally happens is you burn wood for the season, taking it from that doorway, work in as far as you need to for that winter's wood, and then in the spring fill up the woodshed again from that end with new wood, and it dries over the summer. So the wood that's on this back wall here sometimes, well, I think this stuff that's here is probably 10 years old or older. So I thought about pulling out this section of logs, reinforcing a little bit, and then you'd be able to access. So, for example, next winter, what dry wood is left, you could access here and then come in from that direction when you needed to for the most recent wood that you cut and split and stacked in there. So I think that's what I'm going to work on this morning. Hopefully it won't be too difficult. I should be able to get these sections out without too much trouble. And then, like I say, I'll probably put a 2x4 across to make sure, holding these uprights in, and maybe something on the bottom. And we'll just see, I guess, how it goes. So yesterday with the chainsaw, I got it started, made a couple of cuts, ran out of gas. This chainsaw, a couple of cuts, ran out of gas. So anyway, we got our gas back up. Okay, after I sawed out those first two pieces, everything came out pretty easy, as you see. So now I'm gonna kind of frame this in just a little bit to make sure. I mean, I don't think it can go anyplace with this roof attached and everything, but I just want to put a couple of maybe 2x4s, one on the top, maybe one on the bottom. Then if I want, I can actually screw in a couple of boards that I could take out in the winter or whatever. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Okay, I think for now I'm going to leave it at that. If I need to, I can move these, put another one in, or put a couple cross braces if necessary. I guess it'll depend how I stack wood in the future. But yeah, I think this will work out. I'll be painting these or staining them this summer. We'll get some more of the historic brown that's the same as the cabin, and I can stain this so it looks nice, seals it up. We're going to probably try and stain the shed, and we'll do it dark in the historic brown as well. So I wanted to show you a couple of the tops of these balsam that I mentioned in previous videos were being attacked by the spruce budworm. And you see there's hardly any needles left on here. So whether or not these would come back is questionable, and more than likely several of them would die. So that's why I'm working at trying to get the ones closest to the buildings and where we park. In other words, anything that looks like it could potentially hit a building or a vehicle or anything like that. The power line, we'll probably start taking these down. I don't know what I cut here now, 5 or 6 smaller ones. I'll wait for Stephen to come on a couple of them that lean, different direction than when I'd like to fell them. I guess it's all part of nature, but it's kind of sad to see so many of these trees dying, become a fire hazard and that. So let me show you one other thing on my saw here. I don't know if it shows up very good, but there's a zip tie on the handle, and there's a little piece of blue tape marking the end of it. So what that does is it measures 16 inches from the end of that zip tie, the blue mark, to where the bar of the saw is, and it's taking me a little bit to get used to it, but I noticed in the past, you're always kind of guessing, and so you have some fireplace logs that are a little bit longer, some that are shorter. So I thought if I did this, maybe I'd get a little more consistent with 16-inch firewood, which would fit here in the wood stove at the cabin and also fit at in my fireplace at home. So here is the last job that I'm doing today. And I purchased this LED light to go under the bunk here. Let's see here. And you can actually adjust this. There's a lower wattage, I guess. And then it has different brightness levels. That's more of a yellow. kind of an in-between, and then natural daylight. So I just tried it, sometimes I lay here in the bunk and start reading, and it really did add a lot of brightness and direction of the light, I guess. So anyway, I guess we just keep making little improvements here and there, things that make life just a little bit easier up at the cabin. Sure, a beautiful day. I don't know, it's got to be close to 40 degrees now and just a little light breeze. Hopefully it won't be windy tomorrow if my friend comes here and we can try and get that popple tree down and that. So worst case is sometimes when you want to do something and the wind picks up or whatever, the weather changes your ability to get done what you'd like to get done. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow. Well, we're going to attempt to get this big popple tree down now this morning with help of my neighbor and friend. So we're going to try and come along it, pull it the opposite direction, even though it's leaning this way. But hopefully we can get it to go the other direction. We'll see how that works out. Well, here's the remnants of the big popple. I was surprised, and so was my friend, that it wasn't more rotten here at the base, although I think it might not have been too long before it started getting worse. But that made it a little bit easier for getting it down. And then it fell through there. I had to take that one balsam, which is now hung up, but we'll get that down after. I think this tree will just lay here and rot over time. It's really not much usable firewood or anything in there, or campfire wood even, but I'm really happy to get that big thing down before it caused some major problems with buildings or vehicles or people or whatever. Hi everyone, it's Saturday. I'm heading back to town. We had a good few days here at the cabin. It was a good trip. The weather was awesome. I got my great big popple tree down, which was awesome. That's been bugging me for several years, worrying about it coming down. Got some other smaller projects done, and also started trimming some of these dead and dying balsams here around the property. So I want to thank you for coming along on this trip with me and the dog Kira, and hopefully we'll see you on the next video.